Namaskar, good evening and welcome to Sports News. I'm Gautam Roy and we've got a packed show for you with a lot of cricket, football and other sports as well thrown in. First up, our headlines. Committee of Administrators writes a letter to ICC asking them to end ties with nations where terror activity takes place. Calls off IPL opening ceremony in the wake of Pulwama terror attack. Indian women's team beat England by 66 runs in the first ODI to take a 1-0 lead in the three-match series. Ekta Bisht is the pick of the bowlers with 4-wicket haul. Chelsea have been banned by FIFA from signing players for the next 2 transfer windows. Charge comes after club breaches rules around transfer of minors. And Arsenal progressed to Europa League last 16 round. The Gunners beat Bate Borisov 3-0 in the second leg. Chelsea also cruised into the Europa League last 16 with victory over Malmo at Stamford Bridge. Well, first up, the Indian Cricket Board's Committee of Administrators met on Friday afternoon and decided to send a letter to the International Cricket Council, raising concerns about the security of players at the 2019 World Cup. The COA also decided there will be no opening ceremony for the 12th edition of the IPL next month.
We are concerned about the attack that has taken place, and that we are telling them that security of players, officials, everybody else should be appropriately taken care of. And number 2, that we are telling the cricketing community that in future they must sever ties with nations from which such terror emanates. 16th June is very far away. We will take a call on that much later and in consultation with government or whoever is.
And in the wake of the Pulwama terror attack, the COA also decided that the IPL this season will not have an opening ceremony. Let's now go across. We have on the phone line joining us CK Khanna, acting president of the BCCI. Mr. Khanna, what can you tell us about the decision about the opening ceremony? It's quite a gesture towards our martyrs. It will cost the BCCI some amount of money as well.
See, whatever the budgeted amount last year, that this year, as per the decision of COA, they have taken a call to cancel the inaugural ceremony and earmark the entire budgeted amount for this cause.
Right. How did this decision come about? What were the deliberations?
See, this is the call. We are functioning under the supervision of Committee of Administrators. They have taken a call, and inaugural ceremony has been cancelled. And I am happy that we raised this issue that BCCI should contribute, and this has been decided today. We are thankful to COA for this.
All right. Thank you for joining us, CK Khanna, acting president of the BCCI. Now, in what comes as a major announcement, the Supreme Court has appointed Lieutenant General Ravi Thorge, holder of Param Vishisht Seva Medal, as the third member of the Committee of Administrators. The Supreme Court's decision comes following the constant rift between current members Vinod Rai and Diana Edulji, as the duo was unable to give a final decision on crucial issues due to their constant sparring. The Apex Court told the COA to stop the infighting and save the integrity and credibility of both the BCCI and the COA. The Apex Court has also appointed former Judge Justice D.K. Jain as the first court-appointed ombudsman for the BCCI. The appointment was announced in the Supreme Court on Thursday during a hearing of various issues related to the Justice Lodha recommendations. One of the first issues Justice Jain is likely to deal with is the recent suspension of Indian players Hardik Pandya and KL Rahul. Now, the Indian women cricket team defeated England by 66 runs in the opening ODI to take a 1-0 lead in the three-match series at Wankhede Stadium on Mumbai on Friday. After being asked to bat first, India were bowled out for 202 runs in 49.4 overs. Jemima Rodriguez made 48 and Smriti Mandhana scored 44 for the women in blue. In reply, England also struggled to build partnerships and were eventually bowled out for 136 runs in 41 overs. Ekta Bisht was the pick of the bowlers for her figures of 4 for 25. Deepti Sharma and Shikha Pandey bagged 2 wickets each, while Jhunal Goswami also chipped in with a wicket.
लीजिए एक और विकेट गिर गई यहां पर इसी ओवर में पारी निपटा दी तीसरी विकेट हैट्रिक तो नहीं बनी लेकिन इस ओवर में मिलने वाली ये तीसरी विकेट एकता बिष्ट को और कमाल के आंकड़े 4 विकेट.
But there isn't good news from the men in blue. Well, Team India all-rounder Hardik Pandya has been ruled out of the forthcoming T20 and ODI series against Australia at home due to lower back stiffness. The BCCI medical team decided to rest the all-rounder and let him undergo strength and conditioning work for his lower back at the National Cricket Academy in Bengaluru. Pandya will begin his strength work starting next week. The T20 squad will now consist of 14 members. Ravindra Jadeja has been named replacement for Hardik Pandya for the 5 ODIs. And elsewhere, centuries from Jason Roy and Joe Root helped England complete their highest one-day run chase and beat West Indies by 6 wickets in the first ODI. Roy scored 123 of 85 balls and Root 102 of 97 as the tourists cruised to their 361-run target with 8 balls to spare in Barbados. Ian Morgan made 65 and Joss Butler sealed victory after Root holed out with the scores level. Chris Gayle earlier made 135 to help West Indies post 360 for 8. He struck 12 of the Windies' 23 sixes, a record for an ODI innings, as they made their highest total against England. The number 1 ranked one-day team played with a controlled aggression to surpass the 350 for 3 they made against New Zealand at Trent Bridge in 2015. It was the 4th highest chase by any side in ODI history. Now, the International Olympic Committee has decided to scrap 2 Olympic quotas rather than all 16 on offer at the season-opening Shooting World Cup, which begins in Delhi. The IOC revoked 2 Olympic quota places in the men's 25-meter rapid-fire pistol event. Among the 23-member Indian shooting contingent in the World Cup, Anish Bhanwala, Arpit Goyal, Bhavesh Shekhawat, Adarsh Singh and Gurpreet Singh are participating in the men's 25-meter rapid-fire pistol event. The World Cup will thus now have 14 Tokyo Olympics quota places available compared to the earlier 16. India will compete for 12 of them, as Anjum Modgil and Apurvi Chandela have already booked 2 quota places for the country in the women's 10-meter air rifle event. And Sanjeev Rajput has decades of experience behind him on the shooting range, but on the eve of the Shooting World Cup in the national capital, the veteran and senior-most player of the Indian team says he starts from zero in his hunt for glory. Sports News caught up with the ace shooter. Let's listen in to what he felt are Team India's chances at the World Cup.
The ISF Shooting World Cup gets underway in the national capital, and what are India's chances? Will playing as host be a big advantage for Team India? Let's find out from somebody who's there in the fray in 50-meter 3 position. This morning, Sanjeev Rajput joining us. How optimistic are you? We've got 16 places, quota places here. 14 Indians can grab. How many do you expect Indians to pocket?
Well, realistically speaking, we can grab at least 3 to 4 quotas, and we are ready, I can say that.
When you say 3 to 4 quota places, do you feel playing at home is a big advantage or sometimes it's a disadvantage?
I believe it's a very big advantage because we don't have a jet lag. We have our normal food, we have our normal sleep timings, and the best part is we have camp in this range and we are going to compete in the same range, which is a very big advantage for us. And speaking like a disadvantage, of course, there is some disadvantage because the expectations of the people are very high. And the people who will be sitting at behind and speaking a little bit of word will definitely, we can hear and can understand that. I believe it's a bit of disadvantage. Yeah.
Okay. Looking at this particular edition of the Shooting World Cup, do you feel sometimes, the game's not marketed well? If you purely look at shooting as a game, in some finals you have 6, in some finals you have 8. So is it a bit of a confusion, and is it time that shooting, there is something uniformity that comes in the finals?
I believe I know that there are few competitions like in the shotgun in which there are 6 finalists, and in the rapid fire also there is a 6 finalist. Otherwise, in the all competitions there are 8 finalists, and we cannot expect the uniformity in this because the events have been made like that. The more and more it will be like made, knowledge is given to the public. I believe people will understand how the finalists are being selected and what is the decimal system, how they are going to win.
Sanjeev, also looking at you've been a veteran, in this range and also being there at the Olympics many a times before. Having said that, do you believe you are one of the firm favorites for another shot at the Olympics from this World Cup?
That depends on the selection committee.
No, purely in terms of qualifying. Taking that boat quota.
Well, I can say that I am well prepared. That's all.
Okay. Now looking at the past that you've gone by, you've had many experiences of playing at the Olympics. How different is Sanjeev Rajput prepared for this edition to book a quota place for Olympics for Tokyo?
The only difference I can say is I have much more experience, and I have played so many competitions and have represented India and won at many different levels. So I know at least how to handle the pressure, how to manage, and how to win it.
One word, you've been an ex-Forces fan and you've seen what happened in Pulwama. How does your heart go out to the people, the CRPF Jawans who lost their lives? How do you feel? Would you dedicate, in case you manage to get a quota place here, who would you dedicate to?
Well, I'm ex-serviceman, and my heart goes out when I came to know about the Pulwama attack and all the soldiers and their families. It is really sad, and I am standing with my soldiers and their families also in this period of grief.
Okay. One final word, how prepared is India, since we have 14 quota places, how prepared, you look at the overall Indian contingent, you're like the senior pro here, I would say the father figure of the Indian shooting contingent. Having said that, how serious contenders are we to grab, you did indicate 3 or 4 positions, but how serious is the Indian contingent as a threat to the rest of the world in this World Cup?
Well, I have been observing the international arena, shooting arena from so long time, like 16, 17 years from last so many years. So the changes have come now. Wherever the India team goes, people ask who is going to compete, because they know that India has the full potential to grab the quota, to come out number 1. Whosoever is in the team in India can grab the quota as well as become a number 1 in the world, which is like a very big sign of positivity, sign where the world came to know that India has a big team, a very strong team.
Okay, I did say my final word, but one question that haunts me. Last time around in the Rio Olympics, Indian shooters failed to stand on the podium. And that's been, that's come after a very long time, Having said that, this time around, do you feel that, the shooters are prepared? Since you've already qualified with 2 shooters, do you feel we can buck the trend and this time get back to the podium in Tokyo Olympics?
Saying anything about the Tokyo Olympics medal tally or something is very far forecasting thing, so I would not say anything, but I believe that whichever team is going to select, including me if I'm there, we will be having a very good plan, we will be having a very strong preparation, and we will definitely try to win the quota.
Okay, no number predictions that Sanjeev believes in, but Sanjeev surely believes the team is well prepared for this edition of the ISSF World Cup, which kickstarts from today. With camera person Smriti Ranjan, Anil Thomas, DD News, Karni Singh Shooting Stadium, New Delhi.
Well, shooters are generally equanimous. They don't talk big. They just let their guns talk. And that's what we're hoping as far as the Indian contingent is concerned at the ISSF World Cup. Moving on. We're now moving over to shooters of another kind. Yes, those who shoot from the foot. Well, Arsenal eased into the last 16 of the UEFA Europe League with a 3-0 win against Bete at Emirates Stadium to turn their tie on its head. Arsenal suffered a huge upset, losing the first leg 1-0, but enjoyed the perfect start with Zakhar Volkov own goal, putting them ahead after just 4 minutes of the second leg. Centre-back Zorkan Mustafi made it 2-0 before the break with a powerful header following Granit Xhaka's corner. Substitute Socrates Papastopoulos headed into the third goal after an hour. After a disappointing performance in losing the first leg in Belarus, Arsenal needed to score at least twice to go through. 10-man City produced a stunning fight back to beat Schalke 3-2 in the Champions League round of 16 first leg. The Blues took an early lead through Sergio Aguero's 24th goal of the campaign and seemed to be coasting towards victory until the hosts struck back with 2 penalties before the break. But despite losing Nicolas Otamendi for a second bookable foul midway through the second period, City fought back magnificently with 2 late goals. The first, a stunning free kick from Leroy Sane, and the winner on 90 minutes, a clever finish from Raheem Sterling. And Chelsea also booked their berth in a round of 16 of the Europa League. In their second leg match, Chelsea defeated Swedish club Malmo 3-0. The Premier League side went into the second leg holding a 2-1 advantage, and second half goals from Olivier Giroud, Ross Barkley and Callum Hudson-Odoi sealed a comfortable win for under pressure Maurizio Sarri. Whether this result will ease the pressure on Blues manager Maurizio Sarri remains to be seen. Their next 2 matches against Manchester City in Sunday's Carabao Cup final and Tottenham in the Premier League next week will be bigger tests. But at the same time, Chelsea have been banned from signing players in the next 2 transfer windows for breaching rules in relation to youth players. FIFA has made that announcement. They've also been fined £460,000, while the Football Association has been fined £390,000. The ban does not prevent the release of players and will not apply to Chelsea's women's and futsal teams. The Premier League club have been given 3 days to appeal against the world governing body's decision. It comes following a FIFA investigation into the Blues' signing of foreign under-18 players, including former striker Bertrand Traoré. It is alleged that 14 of those signings were under the age of 18. It was first reported in September 2017 that Chelsea were being investigated. The FA has been told it must address its rules regarding the international transfer and registration of minors. Atletico Madrid's star-studded defence dealt Juventus a brutal blow in the first leg of Champions League's round of 16. A game where the best defenders in Europe reigned, but not in the manner anyone expected. Jose Jimenez and Diego Godin forced the goals for a 2-0 win for Atletico. Such was the sparkling, rampaging nature of the victory that Atletico Madrid looked on another level. They had the setback of an Alvaro Morata goal being dubiously ruled out by VAR, but it only added to the performance because it brought out better in them as well as those 2 goals. Excuse me. Now, former Chelsea and Manchester United manager Jose Mourinho praised former arch-rival manager Arsene Wenger after the Frenchman won a Lifetime Achievement Award. The Portuguese tactician, currently out of a soccer job after being sacked from his latest managerial role at Manchester United, said he hoped to see Wenger back in the game where he belongs. Mourinho also said he didn't have regrets over his bitter past feuds with Wenger when they were managing rival clubs.
Honestly, I think the award, the achievement is very, very much deserved, and I just hope that is an award for what he did until today, and that tomorrow or after tomorrow or very, very soon is back to where he belongs, which is to football. But what I can say is that the real respect is always there. You only have these kind of situations when you feel that in the other side is somebody, is a club that can make you have difficult times in the competition. That's why I always felt this situation as a consequence of top managers, top clubs and top ambitions.
Okay then, well, this is next level. As part of an effort to appeal to younger fans, the organizing committee for the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris announced on Thursday that it would recommend breakdancing. Yes, the street dance form which with moves like flares, headspins and windmills as a new sport to be added to his program. The proposal, which also includes a recommendation that skateboarding, surfing and climbing, which will be introduced next year at the Tokyo Games, remain in the program, will be formally presented to the International Olympic Committee Executive Board at the end of March.
From the streets of New York to the Olympic podium, breakdancing's conquest of the globe seemingly knows no bounds. Getting hip to breakdancing's appeal with young audiences, organizers of the 2024 Paris Olympics want the dance sport that spread from New York in the 1970s to become a medal event at the Games. The final decision on which events make the cut will be made by the International Olympic Committee after the 2020 Tokyo Games. But simply being proposed on Thursday by Paris for an Olympic debut in 2024 was hailed by breakers as a milestone that will boost breakdancing's global footprint and its acceptance as a bona fide competitive sport.
Today, breakdancing will really bring something completely new, which again makes it possible to reach a new target. It's a very urban and spectacular sport with a very creative dimension. And from the start, Paris 2024 is trying to bring a lot of creativity and to do things differently. We are trying to bring a new touch, a revolution.
If breakdancing receives the committee's green light, breakdancing would join the 28 other games already on the program for 2024. On Thursday, officials proposed 3 other sports for the 2024 Olympics, namely skateboarding, surfing and sport climbing, all of which will be making their first Olympic appearance at the 2020 Tokyo Games. Sports Desk, DD News.
And let's now tell you what happened in sports on this day in history. Well, in 1977, the day of 68 extras conceded by West Indies against Pakistan. It was ignominy for an esteemed sextet too. The 5 bowlers were Andy Roberts, Colin Croft, Joel Garner, Maurice Foster and Viv Richards. Derek Murray was the wicket-keeper. In 1991, Test cricket debut of Sanath Jayasuriya, Sri Lanka versus New Zealand at Hamilton. The year 1996 was a breakout year for Jayasuriya, and he took the cricketing world by storm with his exploits in the 1996 World Cup. In 1998, 18th Olympic Winter Games closed at Nagano in Japan. That's all we have in this edition of Sports News. Until we meet again, we leave you with these stunning images of cycling tour of Oman. Thanks for watching. Have a great day ahead.
Rider.